growing up, the people around us talk to us about being nurses and doctors and teachers and preachers. They teach us to be the 9 to 5ers because most times that's all they know. A lot of times in our families, in our, with our friends, with even our former coworkers, we may be the only ones that have that entrepreneurial mindset. And in most cases, I'm like the other person who said, I was good in corporate America. I was awesome. And so when I lost my job the same way because they dissolved our department, it was almost like, okay, well, what do I do now? I'm just like, I think it was Maggie who said, she had an awesome resume. She was, not a convict and hadn't done anything bad, but I had the hardest time finding a job. I was looking for jobs for years while I was still being an entrepreneur. I was still doing what I wanted to do, but society, it dictates that, we need to have stable income. We need to do this and that because that's what they say do. And I will tell you guys the honest truth, my business and my everything started to take off the day I stopped applying for jobs. The day I started listening to myself and stopped listening to what society said or what my friends and my mother said. At the same time, I'm the black sheep, the one who really doesn't care. But when I looked at my bank account, I need to care. I need to try to find a job.
Right.
And that.
I'm going to say all of that I said, like I said, I was happy in corporate America. I was making good money at a young age. My parents were proud of me. My very first job, I was making more than my mother, my very first job. And I didn't know that. I didn't know what their income was. All I knew was, we had a roof over our heads, we had food and this and that. And then a few years later, I was making more than my father. So they were so proud because even in corporate America, I was doing great. And so when I became self-employed, I think Maggie also said that, it's not about the money. Am I happy? I'm happy, more happy than I knew that I could be, because I had my bills paid in corporate America. I was able to get up and go and do this and do that, but I didn't know that I was basically a slave to that mentality. I, too, had to unlearn some major things, like major things. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, when you're new to it, you don't understand that so much of it is just character building. I'm talking about looking at your bank account. It's looking ways that you never even knew a bank account could look. You're feeling ways you never even knew you could feel, but that's building character because someday someone, like even right now, they're listening to us share these things, and they will be able to relate. But if we didn't go through those hurdles, we wouldn't know either. Some things about entrepreneurship, you can't tell someone. Someone asked me to tell them how to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to lie and tell you I can do that because I can't. I can help you along the way, but some of this stuff you just have to do for yourself. You have to experience this yourself. It's not a class. It's not a course. Entrepreneurship is really an experience because until you experience it, you can't know the pain we feel, but the passion we feel, it's all worth it at the end of the day. My bank account and my income is not the same as what it was in corporate America. But am I happy? I've never experienced bliss until I became self-employed. I mean bliss. Like people don't even speak in those terms, but bliss because I had full control over what it is that I was doing. Another thing I want to say, too, that one of my challenges being self-employed was I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, to get up and do this and do that. And whether I knew it or not, I didn't have my mojo is what I call it because Austin Powers had mojo. I didn't have my mojo. When I became self-employed, I knew how to be successful in corporate America. I didn't know how to be successful as an entrepreneur. As skilled as we might be, as talented as you might be, it's good to do what someone tells you to do. It's easy to do what someone tells you to do. But when no one is telling you what to do, what do? You can read a book, you can do all of this and that, but until you actually start to, as someone else said, just do it, nothing is going to happen. Stuff is not just going to fall out of the sky and happen. And I would tell some of my friends, I said, you guys get PTO, you get vacation. I don't have vacation. there is no paid time off. I have to work all the time, and sometimes it may not look like I'm working. I might look like I'm having fun, but at the drop of a dime, I will leave a social engagement to service my clients. And my friends and whoever, sometimes they can't understand that. I'm not here to explain. I'm not here to discuss. I have to service my clients. And that's the way I run my business. I try to, it's not to the point where I don't have a social life, because I definitely do, but sometimes the people around you, they can't understand the decisions that you're making. And you understand it because you have that passion, you have that purpose, and you're trying to pursue that. So sometimes we do make compromises that, and we're young or, whatever our ages are, people around us sometimes don't understand the compromise that we can't compromise. We can't just, holidays aren't always holidays for us, because as much as we're spending time being visible to the public, that's as much time as we need to go back to whatever we're doing and work even harder, because I took these few hours off. So I just wanted to say to, anyone listening, there was a very good point, and I think that, you have to be selfish and you have to be selfless, and the selfless part is just being able to give back, how they always say, pay it forward. I'm always willing to help and speak and listen to, whatever I can do to help someone else. At the same time, selfishness is how I got where I am. Not being worried about what other people thought, not being worried about, this and that. I always make decisions based on whether somebody else is paying my bills or not. If you have so much of an opinion, are you paying these bills over here? No. So don't even provide your opinion. You're not paying these bills. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't even know the mindset of a person who, is trying to pursue stuff. Because entrepreneur is so much different from a successful person in any other arena. It's a totally different mindset. And until you become an entrepreneur, sometimes you just do not understand the drive, the desire to succeed, whether you're failing or not. The desire is so strong that if you fail even publicly, it takes a huge toll on an entrepreneur to fail publicly. But I told another friend who's a long line of public failures. I say, you know what, your success, you can't look at that as failure, because the fact that you're failing publicly, you are more successful than the rest of other people who are doing stuff and nobody even knows about it. What type of success is that? Because you failed publicly, you have given us, the rest of us, something to look at. You know what? That person did that and they're still going. I'm going to keep going too. As much as everybody else might look at it and say, well, look at that and this and that. And no, as an entrepreneur, keep failing, boo-boo, because you're inspiring me. If we don't have people with those failures, what are we then learning? If we don't have people willing to fail, then how much more willing are we going to be to fail?
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
That's all I had to say, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you so much for calling in, Denisha. Before you go, is there any shameless plugs you want to give before you get off the line?
Absolutely. So I I wasn't even thinking about that, but I'm going to. You give me the opportunity, I'm going to. But so recently I have, really gotten to a point where I've started to fully embrace my purpose as well. I have a lot of public things that I do, so a lot of people are aware of some of the other things I do. But my purpose is really, being a coach and a mentor. So I was recently certified as a life coach. I'm so happy about that. I mean, I've never been so happy. I have multiple degrees, but being certified as a life coach is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. So if you all could check me out at Coach D. Nicole. You can find me on Facebook at Coach D. Nicole. You can also find me on Twitter, Coach D. Nicole, and on LinkedIn as Coach D. Nicole for anyone who needs any type of, life coaching or any type of questions regarding entrepreneurship, marketing, social media, how I can help you help your business, then feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Denisha. I always appreciate not only hearing your voice, but I always appreciate hearing from you and hearing what you have to say. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks for having me. You girls are doing you ladies are doing a magnificent job. I'm so excited over here. During the time that I wasn't talking, I'm like, hey man, I need to send the offering. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. Great job, ladies.
Awesome. Well, thank you.